Here in Accra, the Greater Accra Regional Minister, through the Regional Coordinating Council, well, they've recorded the highest, they're actually the highest decision-making body. They've held their first meeting for 2023 to discuss issues of development in the region. The Regional Minister who heads the council was to deliver a speech to the heads of some 29 military, that's metropolitan, municipality and district assembly CEOs. Just then, he got upset, so upset that he actually put aside his prepared speech and descended right down onto the municipal chief executives for what he describes as their poor performance.
Have you been hardworking?
Yes.
With Abubuya still on the motorway? Can we say he's hardworking? Well, let's answer the questions. Is it hardworking? Cho is still loading around Accra Mall. Is hardworking? Kole rubbish around Graphic Road. Hardworking? AMA. Kimbu, Tudu, everywhere, rubbish. Hardworking. I want us to mark ourselves. Honorable Abana, Agbogbolshi has been turned into a refuse dump. Is it hardworking? Are you aware? The place we cleared, but people are still dumping refuse there. They have stopped. Since when? I can't hear you. Last month. Do you know the dates we did this exercise at Agbogbolshi? 2 years. And it took you last month to stop them from dumping refuse. I'm not too excited about coming to read hard work. Yeah. Lejokuku Ladadekotopon Ashaman Tema West. We talked about Abubuya on the motorway. They are still plying the motorway. They are. I also West Wabon. They actually Accra Mall. It's like that. In fact, Lada Dekotopo, just in front of ex-President John Mahama's house, somebody has started selling onions and tomatoes. Unbelievable. We are fighting over who collects revenue at Palace Mall. And as the contractor continues to work, the median has become a place for organizer, trotro, mechanics. Every day I talk about it. MCE is not feeling well every day. So how do I read the speech?
Well, so that's the Livid Regional Minister there. My colleague Jacqueline and Soma Yeboah is here with us. She was at the event. We know that the minister, of course, was not happy about what transpired. But which event is this and why? What prompted this reaction?
All right, so basically it was a meeting with the various MCEs in Accra to discuss the works that they've done so far in their various municipalities and districts. Yeah.
Do we know how many MCs, for instance, or DCs, I mean, in all the local assemblies that were represented in this meeting for which the minister was unhappy?
Okay, so personally, the minister didn't go into details as to the number of MCs that were present, but before he expressed his dissatisfaction, he talked about the fact that the report that he had earlier on was not a true reflection of what was given to him. So that was what prompted what you heard earlier, that he wouldn't read that speech because whatever thing that was given to him wasn't the true reflection of what was on the grounds.
How about those you've been speaking to after this reaction? Do we know what the MCs think about his assessment of how the region is doing?
Yeah, so I spoke to the Dean, George Cyril Blay. He is the the dean of the MCEs, and I asked him about his take on what he thought about what the minister said. So let's take a listen to that right now.
To a large extent, I would say he's justified by being dissatisfied with some of the things we are doing, because earlier on, that is when the whole project on Operation Clean Your Frontage started, there was a lot of zeal, there was a lot of enthusiasm, but it looks like the zeal and enthusiasm has come down some way, somehow. So I think it is in that direction that he's not too happy with the way the assemblies are undertaking the Operation Clean Your Frontage project.
Personally, what do you think is the way forward for this whole situation?
Well, I think we need the citizenry to help, because it's not the best for assemblies to be chasing us every now and then to do what we all know it's the right way to go. Because if you need the city response team to always come to your doorsteps to tell you clean your frontage, I think we are not doing the assembly a lot of good, because we have a lot of things to do as an assembly. Whatever decision central government takes, it's the assemblies that implements it. You get it? So we have a lot on our table, and we need the citizenry to help. But that notwithstanding, I think, like the minister said, we have relaxed some way, somehow.
Which is, you agree to that?
It's a fair comment, and we are going to come to the party.
Okay, so what other issues came up at this meeting?
Okay, so the minister talked about the fact that they have relaxed on the Operation Clean Your Frontage, just as you heard George talk about it. And also they talked about unlawful parking of church roads in the various assemblies, and also heaps of rubbish around the graphic area and other suburbs. But one key thing he talked about was the fact that from henceforth they are issuing a statement where all festivals in Accra will be devoid of party paraphernalia. So he also said that, so let's take a listen to that one too.
Celebration of festivals is mainly to portray our traditional and cultural values and to display how rich they are in our respective regions. And so we think that the use of party paraphernalia usually creates a lot of political tensions within I can speak for Greater Accra, and taking cognizance of what is done in other regions, you hardly find party paraphernalia when festivals are being celebrated. So together today, the MMDC's president and presiding members have taken a decision, and that is to say that going forward, all festivals in Greater Accra will be celebrated. In fact, the party paraphernalia are banned from all festivals in Greater Accra. Strictly banned.
Okay, beyond this, there's a talk about transportation within the Greater Accra region, and particularly regarding tricycles.
Yeah.
Right, that's also a concern.
Yeah, so he talked about that, and he expressed concerns talking about the fact that they are not supposed to be on the highway. So he made mention that this initiative started about 2 years ago, and this is not the very first time, and they are putting measures in place to make sure that they are all registered and that they wouldn't be using the main motorway. So let's also take a listen to that.
Motorway, Aboboya on the motorway, they are coming back. Thankfully, Ashaman transfer site is ready. Medina transfer site is ready. We registered over 500 Aboboyas. That's solid. Ashaman, how many have you registered? About 420. So that's good news. So let's begin to link up. It means that your adjoining constituency should work with you, assembly should work with you. Is it going to be Adenta? Adenta and Ashama. So if you can also register some 400 or so 500, so they don't ply the motorway, because the argument will be that they don't have anywhere to go. So Aboboyas using the motorway to dump refuse can use the back roads and then dump at the transfer site at Ashama. Abokobi and Medina, and then who else? Ayawaso West. So the three of you will pair. It means you have to get your team to start registering Aboboya, and then we can free them of the insurance. that restriction will have to be revisited, like yesterday on the motorway and all that.
Okay, my colleague Jacqueline Sumayebo, they're joining us with the latest on what actually happened here in the Greater Accra region when the minister met all the district chief executives in the capital. So what's the marching orders from the regional minister now, and what will be the way forward?
Okay, so with regards to the tricycles in Accra, he is issuing orders for all of them to be registered, and also with regards to the paraphernalia, all festivals in Accra is devoid of that. So mainly these are the main issues that was discussed today, and other issues with regards to infrastructure development in the various assemblies and districts were key topics today.
I see. Jacqueline, thank you for giving us the latest. You're with us here on the Pulse on the Joy News channel. We'll be back after this break. In the coming days, because we know that you're always on the move, we don't know what your next line of action will be. But are you set to engage them on this?
Oh, yes. I mean, usually, of all the things that I've done in the Greater Accra region, we have always engaged the users. You know? If you notice, these days, motor riders and Okada riders are beginning to observe and respect the traffic regulations. Hitherto, you would agree with that when they get to traffic intersections, they just ride through, and they get knocked down here and there by cars. But at least there's about 50% or even over 50% adherence to traffic regulations. So we are getting, Rome was not built in a day. So yes, indeed, we are going to invite these operators. Fortunately for us in Accra, they aren't that many like in Ashanti region. So I believe that talking to them to relocate their business at that area, SAGs and things will work. Places like Bomdomi and those areas, you can have branches within the, the locality who will not necessarily track on the principal streets. That's what I'm talking about. You go to, for instance, say Amasaman, there are some routes there in Ablikuma, those places. Transit works there, but they cannot be seen in the on the principal street and CBD. I don't expect that these track here on Kwame Nkrumah Avenue, around Cocoa Board, around UTC. What will be their business there?
Honorable Henry Kote, thank you for spending some time with us here this afternoon on the Pulse. I'm grateful. And of course, we'll be looking forward to that engagement with the operators. But let me also introduce you this afternoon to the EU-funded landscape and also the environmental agility across the nation. Of course, it's a project, a 4-year project funded by the European Union's flagship Global Climate Change Alliance Plus, which is the GCCA Plus initiative. The project was actually launched on May 11, 2021 at the national level and subsequently launched at the 3 targeted landscapes, including, I believe, the Greater Accra region. Well, let's get more from Abna Ode. She's the Senior Project Manager for the EU project and also the Rainforest Alliance. So we have Joseph Edwin Yelkabon, right, who's also the project manager for he's with World Vision, actually, Ghana. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. Because this is a bit new to us, just lay the foundation for us to understand what the project really is about. What are you seeking to achieve with this project?
Okay, so the LEAN project, the EU LEAN project, is a 4-year project funded by the European Union, as you rightly said. 5 million project. And we are working with 4 partners, which includes Rainforest Alliance, where I am. We have World Vision, where my colleague Joseph is coming from. And we also have Shopping Boss Ghana and EcoCare as our partners. For the project, we are working in 3 biodiversity significant areas, and this includes the High Forest Zone, and this is where Rainforest Alliance is working. And then we have the Transition Landscape. This is where we have our partners, Shopping Boss Ghana and EcoCare. And then when you go up north in the Savannah landscape, that is the West Gonja municipality and the Kasina Nankana West, we also have our partners, World Vision, working in the landscape. Overall, the project is looking at building climate resilience. We are also looking at improving the livelihood of farmers and also looking at biodiversity conservation in all the areas that we are working in. We actually launched the project in May, as you rightly said, but the project was actually supposed to begin from November 2020. But then once again, that is 2020 when COVID was rife, and so this took us a few months back. But nonetheless, I think we have chalked some successes and some outputs that are worth mentioning. Key amongst these is the targets that the project is looking at reaching, which is about 36,000 smallholder farmers across the 3 landscapes that we are working in, which is looking at the reforestation efforts of the project, where currently we have raised and distributed about 700,000 seedlings, mainly native species across board. We have also established over 70 nurseries in all the communities that we are working in. Let me also mention here that we are working in over 200 communities across board. In the high forest zone alone, which is mainly the Western North region, where Rainforest Alliance, we have the Thriving Landscape. We have about 107 communities that we are working in 4 districts alone. And this cuts across Sefi, also Bibiani, Anyaso, Bekwai. We also work in Bodi and Akontombra, and that is in the high forest zone alone. When you go to the transition where we have EcoCare and Tropembos working together, we also have about 60 communities that we are working in there. And this is from the Techima North, Techima South, all the way to Nkranza North and Nkranza South. And even some parts of the Ashanti region, which is Offenso North and Offenso South. And then up north, like I mentioned, we have the West Gonja and the Kasena Nankana West, where Joseph will give more highlights on that.
But Joe, the question is, and very often when issues around climate change comes up, the question is, why should this be so important to us, by the way?
Yeah, so thank you so much. The issue of climate change is central in current dispensation because if you look at the effect, it's quite, let me say, damaging to a very large extent. Smallholders are no longer getting the yields that they want. Women have to trek long distances to access fuel, wood, and even water for their household usage. And also, the issue of even livelihoods are largely affected. So this is a very clear issue that has to do with livelihood development, and that is why, to me, or to the project, is very central. So if you look at most of our interventions, they are quite, we have a key output area which looks at building the resilience of communities to climate shocks, so that they are able, in the wake of climate change, they are able to reduce the hazards of the process. So basically, we have a very big component that looks at how we are supporting them to overcome this issue.
Is there any priority priority area that you're focused on for now?
Yes, so for now we are looking at 3 clear areas. One, we are looking at building resilience of smallholder farmers with the best of agricultural interventions, or what we call climate smart agriculture, to reduce the effect of climate change on their yield. So how are we training them to look at alternative ways of improving soil fertility, also ensuring that they are able to make the maximum of yield per unit hectare. So all these processes. So we work closely with the Department of Agri to tailor out trainings that will help them in this regard. Then we're also looking at the other aspect, which has to do with restoring the depleted forest cover. If you look at Ghana, the statistics are clear that for the past 10 years or 20 years, we have lost a substantive amount of our forest cover. So how are we ensuring that we are able to restore this and also reduce the overdependence on some of these resources for livelihoods? So clearly we have other interventions in the area of raising seedlings, as my colleague mentioned, of indigenous species that communities would plant to improve the forest cover. And also working on what we call, especially in the Savannah area, our farmer-managed natural regeneration model, which looks at empowering communities to regenerate their degraded parkland naturally. So you don't need to plant trees. You just need to tender or trim shrubs and take care of them within a very short period. And within a very few period, like in 2-3 years' time, that you are able to regenerate the area into a forest. It has been proven over a period that, especially for the Savannah, planting seedlings have not helped us to a very large extent, though it is good, but the survival rate compared to the natural regeneration it's not very encouraging. So the FMNR concept has come. We have piloted it in some districts, and under the Lean project, we are doing so well. As we speak, we have established over 42 community FMNR sites.
Right.
So these are designated areas that the communities are working among themselves, incentivized by just the model to regenerate for themselves.
That's impressive. But how about the communities? Are you dragging them along as you implement this project? What's been the level of collaboration amongst the communities that you're working and the groups that are working on board with you?
So this is actually a very good question because on the Lean project, we have a concept that we are working with. This is the Landscape Management Board, which is basically a local governance structure that the project establishes working with the communities. So we bring communities together to form clusters. These clusters are zoned. Representatives from the clusters, it's just like building an apex body of a triangle. And so representatives and leaders, members from the traditional council or the traditional leaders in the communities. We even have some private sector companies that are committed to deforestation, free sourcing, some LBCs, that's the local buying company in the cocoa growing and even the cashew growing areas as well. We have like the share pickers where you go up north. We also even have some members from the Department of Agric, like Joseph mentioned. We even have fire service who form part of the Landscape Management Board, and then together with the communities discuss, agree on bylaws, on the way forward, on the natural resource management plan, and even the land use management plans of the communities, so the communities can own the concept. And like my colleague just said, incentivized by the concept alone. We have actually chalked some successes where in some areas, like the high forest zone, the Landscape Management Board has graduated to the Hotspots Management Board. Now, Hotspots Management Board is a designated governance structure that has been established by the Ghana Red Plus Secretariat. So we have members from our Landscape Board who have graduated to that level, and the project is looking at escalating this across the 3 landscapes that we are working in. In addition to that, we've also had this particular Landscape Management Board also lead in some alternate livelihood trainings and options for some members of their community. So by and by, communities have bought into the concept of maintaining forests, improving climate resilience, stabilizing the environment and all the effects of climate change to ride on the project.
Okay, Joseph, are you working with any timeline? Is there any timeline that you're working with to at least achieve all of the objectives that you've put out here?
Yes, please. So as my colleague rightly mentioned, in her introductory remarks, it's a 4-year intervention, and we started, that was in May, it was launched on May 11th, 2021, and currently the project is supposed to come to a closure by 2024.
Next year?
Yes, next year, October, barring any extension, because as she mentioned,
which you're looking for, definitely.
Exactly. Because we lost, 6 whole months, to COVID. Though COVID is not, or even more. Though COVID is not one excuse, but this is a project.
The quality of the project at some point? Losing about 6 months out.
Sure, not the quality per se, but the deliverables, because the quality will be on point. By the time you need to roll out a lot of interventions, there's an issue. So we are hoping, but we are on track because we are working assiduously to see how we can still meet the targets, even with the effect of COVID. So hopefully by 2024, October, thereabout, we should be drawing the curtains on the project. But if we have an extension, then we can implement whatever that, or just do some mop-up for the rest of the project.
For now, what feedback are you getting on perhaps how that is impacting, the immediate surroundings, the communities within which you operate? Are they giving you good feedback? How is that like?
Okay. So I'll put the Savannah landscape in perspective where we work closely. So through our initiatives, we are receiving some positive feedback in the sense that through our farmer managed natural regeneration efforts, in the fields that are being regenerated for the past 2 years, because they haven't been burnt and they have reduced logging in those areas, some plant species that were missing due to the annual or periodic fires are beginning to resurface. Now, women in some of our communities used to, walk several kilometers to have what we call, some kind of special grass they use to set up an oven for their pottery, like what the pots they mold. Now, just at their backyard, they are able to harvest those grasses because the place has regenerated and there are a lot of them that they can find. So they no longer move several kilometers. What is also, revealing is that the issue of animal theft has reduced in some communities because the animals hitherto had to go far into the valleys to graze. If you look at the savanna landscape, if you are familiar from Bolga to Paga area, at some point in time, you will not find a single green grass within the period. So instead of the animals going several kilometers to graze at the riverside where people can easily poach them, they now have fodder all year round within the period, and they're able to. So most of the interventions are revealing. Even the issue of our assisted regeneration efforts like the tree planting, we have been able to train farmers, and currently they are raising shea seedlings. Shea was considered or has been considered a wild plant, and people think that it was not possible to raise seedlings. But through the project, some communities that didn't know about this are now raising shea, and even rosewood, because rosewood has become, a very big timber species that people are interested in. For the past year, we've been able to raise about 12,000 seedlings of rosewood, and as I speak, most communities are planting them, and they are hoping to raise more in the coming year.
Impressive. So let's look forward to the coming days. Of course, you have a very tight timeline to work with. But Abena, what's your expectation from, those you're working with, those on board, and even the communities as you work towards achieving your target by the end of next year?
Great. So like you rightly said, we are working on a very tight schedule now. So what we are actually, in fact, we have already gotten this. This is the support, the buy-in, the collaboration and the coordination with all the stakeholders on board. And this is from Cocoa Board to Forestry Commission. We have the Red Plus. We have the Tree Crop Development Authority as well. We have FORIC. We have quite a number of organizations and institutions, including some local CBOs and women's groups as well. So what we are looking forward to is more collaboration to achieve the targets that we have set out for ourselves. 36,000 smallholder farmers is quite a lot. So that is about 12,000 beneficiaries per landscape. And we are still looking forward to achieving that. We are also looking at improving alternate livelihood options. I think currently we have over 200 beneficiaries trained, with about 40% of that number being women who are trained in alternate livelihood options such as beekeeping. We have vegetable farming, we have snow rearing. In some cases, we've even put up aquaculture facilities for some of the smallholder farmers in this to improve their livelihoods as well. So in all of this, we are looking at expanding our reach and improving on the trainings and supports that we are giving our smallholders. Okay,
let me take your final words. Joseph, is there any message you want to share with our viewers? Probably you need more funding and money, I guess.
Yeah, sure. So to our viewers, especially our key stakeholders on the project at the landscape level, Ghana National Fire Service, the Department of Agric, the Forestry, FSD, Forestry Service Division, and also wildlife that we work closely with. We are very grateful. And to our community members, we continue to urge them to show real ownership of the project, because certainly lean will come to an end, but we want to see that they are still able to carry on whatever capacities that they have built in the future. Also see how they can scale that up to other communities that we are not into. So this is my few comments that I have for the viewers.
Yeah, the future looks exciting, right?
Sure.
It's very exciting, and especially when the project is measuring sustainability and scalability through land scale. Land scale is actually a novel tool that has just been developed by Rainforest Alliance, which is looking at all the efforts, all the interventions, all the supports that are going into the landscapes that we are working in. And the expectation is that once all of these are measured, then we have enough grounds, then we have enough supports, and like you said, we need funding, right? So then we have enough evidence to approach donors and stakeholders for more funding.
But you've done quite well as a group, so we need to commend you and also hope that more people will come on board. You're open to any organization joining, I guess, or just climate-focused organizations?
Okay, so we are actually open to, when you look at the project concept, it's actually quite broad. We have quite a diverse stakeholder base. We are looking to further collaboration. In fact, we even work with and have had some liaisons with Ghana Education Service and some secondary schools. We have the EPA on our side as well. We even have the creamers in other communities where they exist. So we are open to further collaboration and discussions. And
this is why you need to be talking to Abana and Joseph to improve the Lean project. But we're grateful, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here on The Pulse. Now, the Volta Revival Foundation, an NGO that actually human rights and combating child trafficking, has actually identified Ada as the primary center for child trafficking in Ghana. This was made known during a day's workshop organized for stakeholders in the Adan East municipality. The workshop aimed to raise awareness about the escalating child trafficking situation in the area. Journalist Elvis Washington provides us with details.
Child traffickers have developed new methods for trafficking children, prompting the need to educate stakeholders about these trends for better vigilance, as explained by the Volta Revival Foundation. The traffickers now promises their targets opportunities such as apprenticeship, education, exposure to urban life, and more. Julius Odoi Amesimeku, the country manager of the Volta Revival Foundation, an NGO focused on curbing child trafficking, outlined strategies to counter this issue, noting that Ada has become a hotspot for child trafficking in recent times.
Well, we've realized we've been working with the communities of Adan for some time, and it's out of the fact that Adan has been described as a hotbed for child trafficking and child labor. So we decided to put together this particular meeting with support from IJM, so that we can bring the various stakeholders in child protection together. So we brought the chiefs, we brought the DCE, the MP, and then the assembly members together. We wanted to deliberate on some of the measures that we need to take to ensure that we protect children. And we said the child protection network or net in Ghana is very weak, and that of Adan is very, very weak. So we wanted to bring this group of people or stakeholders together to talk and also plan for the way forward, so that we all know the roles that we need to play in protecting children. We believe that the children are our future leaders, and we need not allow children to just grow in any environment, but they need to be protected and guided even as they grow to become our future leaders.
However, Comfordoyo Gansa, the Member of Parliament for the Adan East constituency, who was present at the stakeholder engagement, offered a different perspective.
For the child labor issue, the negative aspect, I don't support it. Because some of them, they send them and they work like horse. Just because parents have been giving money, so you have to go and work like a horse. And their future is at stake. So those ones, I don't support them. But those who have genuine case that I'm going to fishing and I'm learning how to fish. Future, I want to be a fisherman. Let's allow it. And we should be careful with the way we ourselves label our culture. We should be careful because we are training our children now to leave our culture behind and embrace the Eastern culture. And it's not happiness. That's what has brought this whole lot of unemployment.
Attendees present at the stakeholder engagement praised the efforts of NGOs in their endeavors to combat the challenge.
At first, it's on the ascendancy. Now, it's coming down because of the educations that we are having from organizations like IGM, SOS, and other Challenging Heights and other NGOs. So it's coming down. I think our problem has to do with education, and that is what we are having now.
A lot of parents are around the coastal areas who don't know the importance of education because they have not been to school themselves. So my advice to those parents is like they should encourage, though they have not get access to education, but they should encourage their children in all means or by all means for them to get their education, because it's very important, like in our lives, that we need to force our children to get the education that they want.
The one-day stakeholder meeting brought together community leaders, assembly members, community residents, opinion leaders, and the Member of Parliament for the Ada constituency. For Joy News, my name is Elvis Washington.
And Counseling Unit of the Ghana Education Service is asking government to pay extra attention to children with disability and provide extra support for them. Head of unit, Gifty Sechi Bremansu, who made the call, explained that it is the only way to ensure such children are able to climb the education ladder without any hindrance. She was speaking at one of the children's show here in Accra.
Around 5 million people in Ghana live with some form of disability. Children aged between 6 and 14 account for about 100,000 of this number, with more than 16,000 of them out of school. Many are shunned for their disability, marginalized and forgotten. It is also against this backdrop that government is being urged to help bring all of them on board the education ladder. The call was made by the head of Guidance and Counseling Unit of the Ghana Education Service, Gifty Sechi Bremansu. She was speaking at Adwinsa Children's Show in Accra under the theme, Disability is Not Inability. The show also forms part of the commemoration of the 20th International Book Fair.
Wherever that we find ourselves, please, whoever comes to you as an educationist, make sure that you are providing the needed resource. And in the classroom, in terms of pedagogy, the teaching methodology, make sure that it's disabled friendly, and let's also make sure that whatever that we are doing, we consider them so that they can equally harness their potentials. Inclusion should be part of our agenda and our focus in whatever that we do. We should consider people with special needs in whatever that we do. And then to our policy makers, we are advocating that policy guidelines should favor the special needs and the disabled in our society. We should create avenues. We should create opportunities. We should let them harness their potential so that they would also benefit equally from their abled brothers and sisters in wherever that they find themselves. At this juncture, I humbly appeal to all and sundry that let our facilities be disability friendly.
The SDG Goal 4 seeks to bring all categories of learners under one umbrella for a safe and conducive academic environment. It is against this backdrop that government is being urged to pay special attention to children with disabilities and support them. The Chief Executive Officer of Adwinsa Publications, Kweku Opong Amponsa, said stigmatization goes a long way to affect such children in their pursuit of education.
We are promoting
And our commercial drivers who apply the Pun barrier to Michelle Camp and also the Sechibediako roads in the Pun Katamanso municipality of the Greater Accra Region are on a sit-down strike to protest the deplorable nature of the roads in the enclave. According to them, until they see a contractor on the road, they are not returning to work. Some of them have been sharing their thoughts with Joy News this morning.
I am a driver and we feel this pace all the time. Our roads here are very bad. They are very, very bad. And we've called on the authority for series of times. All they say is the road has been awarded to a contractor. We can't remember about a year or two. They came here to cut a sword that this road will be constructed very soon. And we don't know when soon is that road going to be constructed? Because it's quite over 2 years now, and we still keep on suffering. Recently, what triggers this sit-down strike is, recently we saw a video going viral that our MP asked questions about our road, and then the road minister told him that the government has no plan for Konkatamasu roads and other the roads that he mentioned of. So meanwhile, then we got to know that the assembly, they are deceiving us. Meanwhile, each and every day they come there to collect tolls. The drivers are being paid tolls every day, ticket, two cities, and they have something called routine levy fee, of which every month they come to collect from the various stations, 400 cities. All those money, where does it go to? We pay the same road ready that the people using the asphalted road, that is the same road ready that we also pay. The same insurance they cut, that is the same road insurance that we also pay for. What is our crime? Pregnant women are suffering on the road. When it's rainfall, you cannot use this road. A road of about just 5 minutes or 10 minutes drive. You can spend about 30 minutes to 40 minutes on the road. What is our crime?
Well, some commuters have also been expressing concerns over the safety and the state of the roads in the area.
I just came to the roadside about an hour ago, trying to get a cab to work, but it looks as though the road has been blocked due to what you can see. Due to what you can see here, the road is in a very, very, very bad shape. As such, the drivers here are on demonstration and do not want any other driver to use the road. That's why we are all stranded here looking for vehicles to travel to our workplaces.
It's very disappointed because I'm working with vehicle roofing system. I'm staying at home. I have to take car from Barrier to Michelle Camp Gate. And this morning, this is what I've met. And in fact, it's very bad.
When you got to Barrier, what happened?
There was no taxi over there. All the passengers are I can't even describe it. We are all wondering what is happening. So we have to just start walking. So as you have seen me here, I've walked from Barrier to this very place.
The assembly member for the area, Newton Tete, has also been sharing his thoughts.
This is the road that connects the N1 and then N2. It's about 3.8 kilometer stretch of road from the Kumbaria down to the Adum Herbal Clinic. And for some time now, authorities have told us that yes, indeed, the road has been awarded on a contract. But it appears that the video that emerged on social media some few weeks ago, it appears government has no plan for this road. So it means that leadership have been deceiving the residents all this while. And this is what has angered the residents to stand up now. As I tell you now, we are planning. The next one will be mega than this one. So it appears that it means that we have to take our destiny into our own hands and ensure that we do our own things. Look, last time I filed a question at the assembly, calling on the MP to come and tell us his plans for the roads as a representative of the community in the parliament, and he couldn't come. But then from then I saw that he asked a question at parliament, telling or requesting the road minister to tell us what are their plans, and that's where we got to know that indeed government has no plan on this stretch of road. So the situation has angered the residents. As I speak to you now, many or hundreds of them today walked on their foot to their various workplaces, and it appears that if we are not careful, this will continue for a very long time, because we are really, really angered with the decision or the comment made by the road minister. And that's why today the drivers are on citizen strike to ensure that they also register their displeasure with the state of the road.
Well, so what's being done to address the problem? The MP for the area, Joseph Akwete, says that he is supporting the action of the drivers.
I decided to pose a question to the Minister of Roads and Highways concerning this particular road, because that is where I thought we can get concrete information. And so somewhere last week, the Minister came to Parliament and answered questions on this road, and we were not happy, or I'm particularly not happy with the answers that he gave. According to the Minister, they don't have any program for this road as a ministry. So I quickly called the assembly to inform them what has just happened or what I read in the morning. And the assembly sent me documents indicating that this road has been awarded. And I had the opportunity to ask a follow-up question to the minister, that this is my checks at the assembly. This is what the assembly is also saying, that they have contracts on this particular road. So if he's also saying that there's nothing on their records, then how are we going to reconcile the two positions? But the minister, the only thing he could say was that as for him, all he knows is that they don't have this particular road on their database to indicate that it has been awarded. To add to this, it's also saying that they can only consider this road in the 2024 budget. And as you can see, this road needs urgent attention. So the minister cannot push us to 2024 budget.
So what is your word to the minister?
My word to the minister is that they should come and do something on this road. We know that the road has been awarded according to the documents that we have. And so they should release the needed funds to the contractor so that the contractor can move to sites.
And a pediatrician, Dr. Victor, is at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, is asking residents in the KJB district to develop a good lifestyle in order to avoid some preventable complications. Dr. Achir made the remarks when he led a three-partner foundation to carry out some outreach within the community. There's more in this report for you.
A3 Partners is an international evangelism and church planting missions organization that mobilizes teams for short-term campaigns to help national churches plant new churches in their communities. The group did not just visit KJB district in the Oti region for evangelism, but also provide potable water for 6 communities that needed such support for years. In Suta, Jamlome, Ahamansu, Dodi Papasi, Poases Cement and Odumasi benefited from a mechanized borehole each. Some residents have been sharing their appreciation about these projects. We the chiefs are grateful to A3 Partners for this water project. We are ready to make land available for their church activities. The residents of Ahamansu are very grateful for this water project. We are asking for more development projects in this area. The team also provided medical services from the teeth to the eyes and other ailments affecting the well-being of residents in these communities within the district. Here are some beneficiaries of the medical services.
Eye problems and all other things which they normally struggle to go to hospital, they don't have money even to go. So this one coming, they are doing it free. Those who are not even having money, people are even testifying here. There are all this, the glass they are giving to them, the medicine, if it were hospital, they wouldn't be able to pay.
I went for eye clinic and I was taking care of them, giving glasses. I'm grateful to this program organizers.
Dr. Francis Osei is the coordinator for the rural evangelism and church planting. He tells Joy News why they are on this mission.
The main purpose for this program is that the word of God should go into the rural areas. We find that most of the Christian activities are concentrated in the urban centers. And over there, the churches are large and many people go to church on Sundays. But many others are in the rural areas and they do not have the kind of resource and nor do they have the facilities to really grow in their knowledge of the Lord. We, in partnership with 7 churches that are in the KJB township, we have identified 7 other rural communities who need to be reached and who need to be also helped in the things that they need for their livelihood. This program combines humanitarian activities with the preaching of the Word of God.
Dr. Victor Echery is a pediatric surgeon at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital and the leader for the Christian Medical Outreach Team. He is advising residents to cultivate a healthy health-seeking habit to avoid preventable complications.
Yes, we do recommend, and there are hypertensives, there are diabetics, and visiting a hospital just once is not enough. In fact, sometimes you don't even want to attend to them by way of giving them medications, but rather advising that they go to the facility they have been to previously, so that the doctors or the healthcare workers there can continue to monitor them and make sure that they are in good health. Some also resort to alternative practices. But if you resort to alternative practice and your condition is not going away, then you need to also resort to the right care that will let your condition go away. So we're doing quite a bit of counseling, and I believe that sometimes it's more paramount than giving out medications, because going to the right source of care is paramount to having good health.
Peter Sen for Joy News.
And back here in the Greater Accra Regional Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Shalia Yakobuchi, has sacked all overstaying officers from the agencies, including the Ghana Police Service, the Ghana Army, amongst others, stationed at the Accra Passport Office. Now, according to her, their long stay breeds familiarity and exposes them to compromises. She has also accused some of the officials engaging in some shady deals with the middlemen. Madam Shalia Yakobuchi has, however, revealed that investigations are underway to deal with culprits. Meanwhile, she has expressed shock by a recent United Nations Office on Drug and Crime report that puts the Passport Office on number 6 in the list of corrupt institutions.
First of all, let me say that this is not the first time I've come to the Passport Office. I've done an unannounced tour of the 2 passport application centers. But for me, this particular visit has become necessary because of some reports that I have. Reports that officers, and there are 9 or so agencies represented in any passport application center, that these people represented from the various agencies, and I will not say that my own officers are not part of it, but these people are involved in illegal activities. And when I say illegal activities, we all know, just 2 days ago, the report in the Daily Guide that the issue of Goro people involved in our passport acquisition process has become rife. It is wrong. How can 100 Ghana for standard service to acquire a passport and 150 for expedited service be bumped up to 2,000 and 3,000? And yeah, they don't even charge 2,000 now. They are charging 3,000. And it's wrong. But I can say, and we all would agree, that a Goro person is outside the passport office. They need somebody inside to work with. They cannot do it on their own. People are paying 3,000, 2,000 to acquire passports. Why should this be so? And sometimes they don't even carry out the so-called service that they promised them for charging them so much. The stories are horrific stories. People's experiences are not the best.
Honorable Minister, you think some of the agency officials are liaising with these Goro boys?
I'm not saying some of the agency. I'm saying that some people in here are involved in it. Because, like I said, the Goro person who is outside, if he takes somebody's money, how can he deliver a passport if he's not working with somebody inside?
Have you launched any investigations to fish out these officers?
We are investigation. We are investigating. Sorry, I said investigate. We are investigating, and we have some leads which we are dealing with, and very soon we'll be able to have some firm information that we will deal with. It's so wrong.
But why the urgent directive to the agencies, those who have overstayed here,
Listen, this
to go
is
back?
not something that is new. We've always said that no agency should keep their staff here for more than a year. And yet, this is overlooked sometimes. And so I intend to ensure that this is carried out to the letter. There are some people outside, not outside Ghana, but a cartel who are working with people. I mean, you've gone through the process of online system, putting in place systems to ensure that people do not go through a very laborious process. And yet, people have problems acquiring passports. Yes, I know that we have some issues. Once in a while, there are issues of shortage of booklets. And this has come about a few times since COVID. Apart from that also, we have an issue with the printers, which the World Bank, thankfully, is going through the process, well, the end process of it, of giving us new printers that can print high numbers, even per hour. So that, I was hoping that by now, because I was in Parliament and I informed them that we are at the end process of it. So I was hoping that by now we will have those printers installed so that this whole thing will be, there'll be an end to it. Unfortunately, this hasn't happened. But this human intervention of what I'm told is called, rebooking, is human. It's a human intervention, an illegal human intervention. Because if you are given an appointment for, say, to come in October, November, and you want it earlier, then there should be some intervention. That's where they use to make money. And let me use your media to appeal to Ghanaians that, please, if you do not have immediate need for a passport, please take your time, let the time come when you've been given the appointment and come and process. Unless there's an emergency. If there's an emergency, I don't have a problem. If there's an emergency, find a way to get to the passport directors and let them know that there's an emergency, because we make provision for emergency passports. And directors, please make yourself available to the public. That's why you are here.
Honorable, interestingly, your action came at the time that the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime puts the the passport office on number 6 of the list of public offices that are corrupt in the country. Are you devastated by this? Very devastated, because this is not the way it should be. If indeed what you are quoting is the case, here is the case. Yeah. Then because people, the hue and cry from Ghanaians, the hue and cry, their experiences are not the best.
And we'll get you some updates on that engagement between the minister at the public passport office here in Accra. We'll get you some updates later on. But for now, businesswoman Ida Joa Asiedu has officially entered the race for the Ayenswano constituency seat in the upcoming New Patriotic Party parliamentary primaries. Ida's nomination comes with a clear mission, which is to unseat steady Safari Adi, and also to champion some policies of the Akufo-Addo-led administration. With a keen eye on community needs, she has launched the Impacting Communities and Improving Lives program and addressing grassroots unity, education, road network development and youth empowerment. So that's it on the political front. But just last weekend, of course, if you missed out, then you missed out big time. Guess what? Adam Naite is with us. And of course, we need to tell you about something that happened over the weekend, which has got to do with the Misters and the Mrs. and, becoming Mr. and Mrs. And of course, many of us were excited about the program last weekend. But I'm sure that a lot more also turn up just to be a part of the program. So, Adam, let's break it down for those who are, in fact, hearing about the program for the very first time. What's this program about?
If you're hearing about it for the first time, I'm sorry you missed, but you can still catch the link on Facebook at Joy 997, on Joy News, and also on Joy Prime. You can catch the link and watch it. But then it was about singles. It was a singles breakfast meeting. So part of the Joy FM Family Forum, and we dubbed...
The way you're showing these beautiful ladies, I don't know if you want me to choose one.
If you're not married yet, why not? You can begin to look through.
Oh, nice.
And we dubbed
That's Lexis, I guess.
Yes, Lexis was there too, becoming Mr. and Mrs.
Oh.
And
but Lexis is off the market. I mean, this should be for us.
You should have been there.
All right. It was fun, I guess.
It was fun. The whole intention was, to teach people everything they needed to know before marriage. Of course, we couldn't have shared all of that in a day, but we were able to share, good enough information.
So becoming Mr.
and Mrs.
Yes. What inspired you to do this, actually?
Well, so for the past 5 weeks or so on Home Affairs, we had dedicated the time to discuss, some of these issues that bedevil people who are planning to get married. And so we thought, why don't we crown it with a forum?
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful one. The patrons wanted more. After that, they were asking, when is the next one? Like, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
We need to conclude on this one very beautifully, do our post-mortem, and then see what we will do next. But Lexis gave me a very interesting idea.
Okay.
That the next one we should do should be, now that you're married, then what?
But first, we need to do a reloaded of this.
Of this one, right?
And
you
I'm
will
hoping
be
that
there.
it will be anytime soon.
I wouldn't be able to promise you that. But because, our patrons are asking, we will see what we will do. Yeah.
Okay, here's what we need to address. We know that it's not a matchmaking event.
No. At all.
But, never say never, right? I'm sure you saw some of these stories.
Well, that wasn't our intention. We weren't matchmaking anybody. But I am sure people may have met people there and started conversations. So that is solely up to them. But that wasn't our intention at all.
It's up to you and God. God is watching.
But I would like to say a very big thank you to everybody who supported us. Our speakers, Uncle Ibu was there, Mama Rita was there, and then the speakers who made up the panel. And then those who supported us by way of sponsorship, Niche Expressions, we had Shape Healthcare, there was Marino Oil Spa and Salon, and Go Back Inti. They were all there.
And this was hosted at the
Best Western Plus Hotel, the one in Nungwa. It's a very beautiful and peaceful place, and they treated us very well.
Maybe when you become Mr. and Mrs., then you can go there.
Exactly. And if you tell them that you attended this event, I am sure they'll give you a very good discount. Yes.
Okay. How can people reach out some more if they want to partner? Because I'm sure that definitely there'll be more of this.
059-288-9986. 059-288-9986. You can reach out and we can have conversations on what we will be doing next.
But for Home Affairs, it's still on.
Home Affairs is on every Saturday morning, 6:15 through to 7:30. We're live on your radio. We're live on social media. That's Facebook, YouTube at Joy 997, and then also on Twitter Spaces. So Home Affairs is on every Saturday morning.
So you need to join Adam and the team, and definitely, who knows, you may become Mr. or Mrs. We're all excited about that program. So just tune in this weekend. But that's all we have for you in this package of the Pulse. I'm Blessed, so log on to myjoyonline.com. We'll see you again. Bye-bye for now.